Monday, the 23rd day of September 2019. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. In our News Tonight, President Museveni speaks out on Lokodo bill. The Speaker Kijjanangoma asks men to support women in leadership positions. Pan-African movement to celebrate Mugabe. Nigerian murder suspects remanded to Luzira prison. And in sports, Van Dijk threatens Ronaldo Messi in world's best. Hello there and welcome once again on Sign Language. It is Mugalu Mohammed and I'm Edward Kijjanangoma. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also the NRM national chairperson, today began a two-day by-election campaign canvassing votes for the NRM flag bearer for Hoima District Woman Member of Parliament, Businge Harriet Mugenyi Akiki, and called upon the electorate to vote for the NRM candidate to reciprocate government's social, economic and political achievements made in the area. The president also added that government is building Kabale International Airport with a 5-kilometer runway in Bunyoro and said that it is an equivalent of Entebbe Airport. And of course, that was on top of the president saying that the roads have been constructed to connect Bunyoro sub-region to other parts of the country. Electricity has been connected to 10 sub-counties of Hoima district, except Kyabigambire County, which will soon be connected. Also, education and health sectors have been fully supported. Now, the NRM flag bearer, and that is the woman aspirant for Member of Parliament, Businge Harriet Mugenyi Akiki, is tussling out for the Hoima District Woman seat with the opposition contender, Sinasi Nyakato of the Forum for Democratic Change. Now, Hoima District Woman MP seat fell vacant after its former woman Member of Parliament, Tofas Kahwa Byagira, decided to move to represent the newly created district of Kikube as woman Member of Parliament. Now, addressing rally at Kabale Public Primary School in Kabale Sub-County in Bugahia County today in the afternoon, the president reaffirmed to the people of the area that other developments such as the discovery of oil deposits in Bunyoro sub-region is attributed to the peaceful environment and NRM's zeal for national development. He said that Uganda is hosting a refugee influx from the neighboring countries because of a peaceful political atmosphere that was ushered in by the NRM. He therefore urged the people of Uganda to guard this peace jealously. The president also used the occasion to assure tobacco farmers in the Bunyoro sub-region that government is going to compensate them following the loss they incurred after selling their tobacco produce worth 36 billion Ugandan shillings to a Kenyan company called Continental that had collapsed. The president also thanked the people of Bunyoro sub-region for voting NRM in every election in the past. He advised them to vote the NRM flag bearer, Businge Harriet Mugenyi, to represent the Hoima district in Parliament as woman MP come Thursday, the 26th of September 2019. To other news now, and the Speaker of Parliament, Honourable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has called upon men to support women in political leadership positions. Kadaga was officiating at the opening of the 6th Triennial Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians Conference at Munyonyo.
The 64th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference has kicked off successfully at Commonwealth Resort Hotel in Munyonyo. St. Elizabeth Girls Secondary School from Serere set a good ambience for the meeting.
Welcome to Uganda, the birth of Africa.
Among the first sessions include the 6th Triennial Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians Conference, opened by the Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. Kadaga noted that 52 years ago, since a conference of this nature happened in Uganda in 1967, many member countries ratified laws that have not been domesticated, hence the presence of inequalities in the political space.
So I got there, went to the meeting, I went to sit behind my flag. Then the chief of protocol of the country said, "Madam, don't sit there, that's for the minister." So I said, "I'm the minister." He was in shock, he didn't even believe it. So he went to my chief of protocol and said, "Is she telling the truth?" You can imagine. So he said, "Yes, that's why I'm here with her." But no attitude. So I think we need to work to break those barriers.
Kadaga asked men to support their female counterparts in political positions to achieve equitable development.
But the other thing I would add is that we should recruit men to help us. See, it's not just a women's issue. We should recruit men to understand and to support us in this campaign so that we can get there.
Kadaga was backed by Emilia Monjowa Lifaka, the chairperson of CPA, also the deputy speaker of the National Assembly of Cameroon.
But as women, we continue to work hard and strive to make sure that our numbers within the legislative bodies of our respective jurisdictions increase each parliamentary year.
In the same conference, a new chair of Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians will be elected, a position currently held by Dr. Dato Binti Ahmed, who called for an end to bullying in some parliaments.
Encourage you to take this opportunity to actively engage in the discussions, and this include the importance of mentoring for new parliamentarians, promoting women to senior portfolios and positions of leadership, empowering women as effective legislators in 21st century, and combating bullying and harassment in parliament.
The 6th Triennial Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians Conference was on the theme CWP at 30 years, achievements and unfinished business, looking forward to the next 30 years. For UBC TV News, I am Philip Aguta.
Philip Aguta for that report there. And of course, men, they are being called upon to support women in development. And do remember that the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference will kick-start on Thursday, and UBC TV will be there to bring you everything as it unfolds live in the comfort of your sitting room, and that will be on Thursday. To some rather sad news, where police has received the body of one Sarah Achenyi, who died abroad, where she had gone in search for job opportunities. According to family members, Achieng was a maid working in Oman who unfortunately passed away in June 2019 under unclear circumstances.
They should not go without passing through proper channels. Registered companies. Also, even them, those who pass through registered companies, they have problems and they are not solved, but we can get some chance of the way of following their cases and we solve them. But
done at home, we are just there sitting, no digging, and people coming every day. Imagine, they want to see, they eat, no digging was already taken at place. They're just sitting there, waiting the body to come back. And now the situation is worse. We are in a worse situation at home. Money, have no money, we can feed ourselves. No money, can feed the children while we are left there. So the situation was worse up to now. I'm talking here.
And the body was returned after the parents of Sarah actually failed to get the body of their daughter. But that followed the arrest of Halima Byekwaso, who had been arrested by the anti-corruption unit for recruiting and exporting labor to Oman illegally. Now let's go to our top story, and that is President where Pentecostal born-again pastors have been urged to become examples in spiritual and temporal matters to their flock, because the Bible says we will see them by their fruits. Now, while speaking to pastors from churches all over the country at Lugogo Cricket Oval, President Yoweri Museveni encouraged them to take lead in wealth creation, as he promised to work together with them to actualize it. We have this story.
It was a jovial moment as Pentecostal pastors converged at Lugogo Cricket Oval grounds, waiting to hear from the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The occasion was graced with praise and worship songs by the choir of Miracle Center Cathedral Church, the organizers of this meeting. This meeting was planned in 2014 when pastors engaged the President on how they can benefit from the Operation Wealth Creation program. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said Christians should be examples when it comes to wealth creation and poverty eradication.
How will the Christian be right in the village when his children are starving and they are in rags? And does this give glory to God?
One of the issues that prompted the pastors to meet the President was to get his guidance on the Lokodo bill. Museveni has promised to engage with the pastors, Lokodo and the Archbishop to come out with a consensus.
Should we emphasize rituals and the formalization, or do we also take advantage of spontaneity?
Some leaders of the Pentecostal Church and born-again faith had mixed reactions to the President's speech in regards to the Lokodo bill.
Policies is he passing so that thieves stop stealing government money? Drugs are stolen. What is he doing? Why are you going to people who are already trying to rehabilitate people from the chiefesses?
We are against training. What we are up against is subjecting our leaders, our churches, our ministers to training that is traditionally Anglican or a semblance of the Catholic. We cannot do that.
Is there logic in what you are trying to do? If you make a law, is it enslaving somebody or do you give him more freedom? That's why he used the word spontaneous. Do you embrace the spontaneous? Because normally laws are made sometimes to control, and spontaneity is not what laws like. But
the President guided pastors on how they can help bring about transition from working for the stomach to real wealth creation. In the same way, urged them to patiently and politely engage traditionists to change their beliefs.
Third acre is for food. The fourth acre is for pasture. For the zero grazing cows. 8 of them. Then in the backyard, poultry for eggs. Piggery.
To people, pastor, reverend, sheikh, everybody, they have an audience every week. So if we can turn these people in as messengers of prosperity and progress, then the message of wealth creation will reach where it's supposed to reach.
you have to portray a process that helps a person to see that the side you are in is better. And so that process is what he was actually showing. You don't have to go aggressively or quarrel or fight, you know, but you go patiently and help the person, educate him, bring in the aspect of logic. And
Uganda has about 55,000 pastors for Pentecostal churches, with 3.9 Pentecostals whose livelihoods the meeting targets to uplift. It was concluded with a prayer that emphasized the unity of the pastors.
This is just the beginning. Let it be continuous so that unity can be exhibited before the return of Jesus Christ.
I'm Nafka Farida and Sana Annette reporting in Kampala.
The different pastors having their say there in as far as the Lokodo bill is concerned. News Tonight will now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#, select option 6, school fees, select option 2, school pay, select option 1, pay fees, enter student number, enter the amount, enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back to school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money, simple, instant, secure.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pain Arena. Introducing on the right corner, Mr. Action, the reigning heavyweight champion in the ring against
the Headache, the #1 contender. And the bell rings.
Headache charges forward with a steady right and a left hook. Action dodges. He misses out with an inch. Wait a minute. Mr. Action launches back with a kick. The final blow. He is out.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
My first 4G smartphone from Airtel is back. It's bigger, better, and comes with 5 GB free data per month for 3 months. At only 200,000 Uganda shillings, enjoy fantastic features on the phone, like the face unlock feature, long battery life. Mwana, kavolume keko. Live your life in 4G with my first 4G smartphone at only 200,000 Uganda shillings and get free 5 GB data every month for 3 months. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, dial *175*9# to enjoy free data. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Does heartburn stop you from eating the things you love? Eating too fast, alcohol or spicy food can trigger acidity, heartburn, indigestion or flatulence. Your best bet is Better Cool. Better Cool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn and indigestion. Trust Better Cool. Enjoy life.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Measles and rubella outbreaks are still being reported in some districts in Uganda, putting the lives of our children at risk. In order to stop these outbreaks and maintain a polio-free Uganda, the Ministry of Health has planned a national measles, rubella and polio immunization campaign for all children under 15 years of age on 16th to 20th October 2019, starting 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All vaccines are safe, effective, and free. Parents and caretakers are hereby asked to take all children under 15 years of age for immunization at the nearest health facility or immunization post. Ministry of Health also calls upon everybody to report any child with a fever and generalized skin rash to the nearest health facility or health worker immediately. This could be measles or rubella. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from World Health Organization and UNICEF.
Paying taxes is a civic duty.
This September is all about you. URA has prepared this month to identify, recognize, and celebrate compliant small to medium enterprises, SMEs. Come and access a number of activities lined up from the 25th to 27th September at Kolo Independence Grounds, featuring the Bombaya Business Summit on SME business success. That's not all. There will be a host of free services like yellow fever vaccination, an employment hub with jobs and free career guidance, instant business registration, and issuance of driving permits. These activities will run daily from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Entrance is free. For more information, email info@ura.go.ug or visit our website www.ura.go.ug, Facebook at URA page, and Twitter at URA Uganda. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is UBC News Tonight. Now, Pan-African Movement, in conjunction with Julius Nyerere Leadership Institute, is to hold a march in remembrance of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, who is arguably one of Africa's profound liberation leaders. Now, the president of the Pan-African Movement says Mugabe was a significant hero in the liberation of Africa from foreign rule. Now, the march is scheduled to take place at Makerere University, Freedom Square, as we hear in this report.
Last month, former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe died at the age of 95. Remembered for his revolutionary background, Mugabe became an icon of liberation and a Pan-Africanist who dedicated his life to emancipation and empowerment of the people of Zimbabwe. It's against this background that the Pan-African Movement in Uganda has decided to celebrate his life in remembrance of his role in fighting white supremacy regime in his homeland.
There are those who celebrate that the man is dead and they call him a villain, but there are others like us who think he's a hero. And we think that he fought for the liberation of Africa, and we want to give honor where honor is due.
Here is a man, I repeat for emphasis purposes, that gave the African person the face and the definition of what it means to be yourself. You should not be described and seen in somebody's lenses. We are looking at Comrade Robert Mugabe as somebody who participated vigorously during the apartheid regime to liberate the South Africans, never mind what they are doing now.
In another development, Makerere University Department of Journalism and Mass Communication is set to rebrand its journalism courses. According to Dr. Adolf Mbaine, the rebranding is a response to the current communication gap in the market. The plans come as the department marks 30 years in service.
Very soon that we'll be able to run a short course in economics and business journalism, for example. The curriculum is already up. We also hope to begin work on trying to get a specific building structure for journalism and communication training here at the campus.
So the change to 4 new degree programs was partly industry driven because we got feedback from our former students and the employers of our students, and they advised us to open up the current degree programs into more packages.
Among the rebranding plans include the establishment of a multimedia center, putting on air its radio, and putting in place short courses that enhance professionalism. Susan Naung and Idris Lukwago reporting for UBC TV.
Now, charcoal production and bush clearing for livestock farming is eating up the forest cover in Nakasongola district. The activity, which has devastated big chunks of land there, is quickly turning the area into a desert. We have this report.
Felling of trees for charcoal production is quickly turning big parts of Nakasongola area into a desert. Both charcoal dealers and livestock farmers have relentlessly cut all the trees here, reducing the traditional woodland of Mijera to bare surface. The devastating impact of deforestation in this area is apparently inevitable, with the soils here no longer being able to support vegetation growth. Agriculturalists are already at the verge of collapse.
We had the sound, then after about 10 minutes, the herdsman came and told me that the animals have been hit by the thunder. So there are about 5 incidents which I have so far had from such incidents. But we don't know the cause and we don't know what to do.
Government and international development partners like UNDP are concerned.
They tried to establish grass from seed and vegetatively, but the farmers were saying that these germinated, but they did not stand the attack from the termites.
What we have just experienced is what I would call an extremely denuded area within the cattle corridor. And there are several factors that come into play. The first is that we need to look at the policy environment that leads to a denudation of that level. What is it that we are not doing in terms of policy? What is it in terms of coordination between the various ministries, Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, the National Agricultural Research Organization, and other institutions to ensure that we work together to address the issues that we have seen?
Unless there is a deliberate attempt at reversing this trend, the thirsty soils of Nakasongola may soon turn into desert. Pathias Karikona and Lorraine Masika Kazimoto reporting from Nakasongola for UBC News.
Sports news now, and we'll look at chess, where the Chess Parents and Guardian Association Youth Championship is nearing its tail end. Now, this new initiative that is a reserve for schools started with regional qualifiers and will climax with a grand final in Kampala. John Bansentamu reports.
During its latest stop, the Chess Parents and Guardians Association Youth Championship has been in Tumbarara for the Western Region qualifier at Ntare School.
Yes, we've had some limitations, especially in the ability of children to hold calmness. And this comes from the fact that due to timing, they've just gone back to school, they've got some exams, so we didn't get all the numbers we wanted. But even with that, what is amazing is that we actually managed to get about 170 children playing in this tournament. So this is very good. This is a first in this region, and as CPJ, this is the first time we're here. So we're realizing our goal, which goal is to bring chess to the wider community of children. And chess should be played in every region.
Very successful during his playing days and now great statesman, Olympian engineer Joseph Kamu offered advice to the youth on how to use the tenets chess provides for a better life.
Chess has helped me to become disciplined, first and foremost. You know, when you are going to start a game, you shake hands. When you finish, whether you win or lose, you shake hands. And when you are playing, you don't make noise.
In the action, Devine Kalunji of Mbarara Preparatory was rewarded for being youngest player at the qualifier. Organizers believe had many players with potential.
The region has been blessed with the event, first of all, and we are getting to realize that there is talent even this side. And many kids are coming up. It even surprised me that they even had a 7-year-old who was playing. But if they keep up playing, having friendlies against each other, I believe they will improve greatly.
Ntare School boasts the under-18 boys category with Marvin Twina Masiko, Collins Alinda and Benjamin Nuemurisa on the podium.
Chess is a good game, and it's helping the development of great thinkers in Uganda, most probably here in Western Uganda.
I like chess because chess
is a thinking game. It sharpens my mind and it sharpens my brain. So that's why I love it.
Others are rewarded for excellence were Caroline Chasimide, Matthias Nwamanya, Ernest Muhindo, Jean Ampa, Solomon Mugasa, Melissa Natasha, and Luca Arinaitwe. The championship attracted more than 160 players from 6 schools including Mbarara High, Mbarara Preparatory, Kabateraina Memorial, Uganda Matters Primary, and Windows School Mbarara. The best 3 from each category will represent a Western region at the CPA Youth Championship Final in Kampala later this year. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
And that brings us to the end of our bulletin. But before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our top stories. In our news tonight, President Museveni speaks out on Lokodo bill. Kadaga asks men to support women in leadership positions. Pan-African movement to celebrate Robert Mugabe. Nagirinya murder suspects remanded to Luzira prison. And in sport, Van Dijk threatens Ronaldo Messi in world's best. And that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Remember that our next bulletin comes your way at 10 p.m. Do stay with us. But coming up next is Business Roundup with Mark Wadulu. Remember that at 9 we shall also be having Talk Time, and we'll be looking at cryptocurrency, and that, of course, will be something to wait for. See you then.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to yet another fresh episode of Business Roundup. My name is Wadilo Mark Arnold. It's been a busy week on the business fair this week, and the stories to look out for: the tourism sector review allows the revival of Uganda Airlines, 3 days of operation, and government urged to go slow on public-private partnerships. These and more in this episode. Stay tuned because it's time for business. Gracing the opening of the 11th African Union Subcommittee of Director Generals of Customs in Kampala, the Prime Minister Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda urged African countries to remove bureaucracies, red tapes, reduce non-tariff barriers, and improve coordination in order to foster the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Let's take a look.
The Commissioner General's Conference at Peak Resort Munyonyo comes ahead of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area slated for July 2020. Converging in Kampala from all over the African continent, the CGs are to examine the implications of the Free Trade Area Agreement to African customs administrations.
The meeting is also going to look at examining the work that has been so far done by various customs technical working groups to prepare us for the implementation of the agreement. And this work started way back in October 2018, and we'll be looking at what has been done to date to September 2019.
Representing President Yoweri Museveni at the opening of the meeting, the Premier, Dr. Ruhakana, underscored the importance of African countries trading with ease amongst each other.
The agreement is going to remove the trade taxes on at least 90% of all trade between African countries. In fact, the agreement, once it achieves its objective, will not only increase intra-Africa trade, but will create a firm ground for Africa to export to other markets of the world.
His sentiments were re-emphasized by delegates from within the continent and beyond.
Today, as I stand before you, 27 state parties have ratified the agreement, and 54 countries have signed the African Union, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. We are therefore left with only one country to sign and 28 countries to ratify.
Customs plays a critical role in this respect because when you get a good policy implementation, it is customs. For connectivity at borders, facilitating trade, especially through CFTA, that is customs. And also human security, illicit trade is also customs.
Although Africa is the richest continent globally in terms of resources and has a combined population of more than 1.2 billion people, concerns are raised on its inability to organize itself into a unified customer base.
A unified and strong customer base is a precursor for investments. It is those investments that are able to create much needed jobs for our people that we always talk about.
Bureaucratic red tapes, non-tariff barriers, and coordinated services, negative attitude among others, must be addressed for an effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Opening up the entire African continent for free trade might sound unrealistic, but then the time frame has been set for July 2020. Dennis Igoa for UBC News at Speak Resort, Munyonyo.
In a bid to align Uganda's governing policies with the Global Sustainable Development Goals, diplomats from various countries in Africa converged in Kampala to discuss on ways Africa can leverage on all available human and capital resources to foster the consistent look.
In 2017, a World Bank report cited Uganda as one of the best African countries with relatively good policies. The report considered economic management, structural policies, policies for social inclusion and equity, public sector management and institutions.
Uganda is growing very fast in terms of population and wants to has a clear ambition to improve quality of life for Ugandans, and to do this you need to improve public service.
However, the existence of good policies in any developing nation requires compliance and collaboration of public service and private sector.
So we cannot afford as Africa to remain nowhere in this hierarchy when we continue just to borrow and borrow until eventually we may reach our ceiling without taking advantage of this PPP, which will enable us to borrow less, because we're going to have great partners who will be able to invest, develop, operate, and hand over with very good positions of agreement.
A public-private partnership is a type of contract where a government entity delegates its own responsibilities to a private partner under a long-term contract that defines the rights and obligations of each party during the term, as well as the mechanisms for its operation.
You're going to need roads, you're going to need schools, you're going to need hospitals, and for you to need all this, for you to develop all these assets, infrastructure assets, the public budget normally is not enough. And so it's very important to design projects in a way that other investors, international and local investors, are interested in participating on the development of Uganda.
To square the sustainable development goals and corporate profiting, the conference is founded on the need to prioritize citizens as the first beneficiaries of any partnership between governments and private entities.
Relatedly, government has been cautioned against the speedy adoption of public-private partnerships as a financing tool for big projects. If not carefully implemented, PPPs may pile the government with more debts, warns Dr. Fred Muhumuza, who is an economist.
Uganda is among African countries that are adopting the public-private partnership PPP approach in the financing of mega infrastructural projects. PPP is a cooperative arrangement between two or more public and private sectors, typically of a long-term nature.
Our annual requirement for infrastructure development is close to 170 billion US dollars, but we can manage to raise 100 billion US dollars annually. The gap between our needs and what we can raise cannot certainly come from governments.
As we seek to develop infrastructure, we acknowledge the inadequacies of the traditional mode of infrastructure financing.
Although this financing tool looks rosy and probably the best approach in reducing the debt problem the country is currently grappling with, there is more than what catches the eye, warns Dr. Fred Muhumuza, an economist.
The other part is mitigation of what we call macroeconomic risks. All these projects factor in an element of what will the dollar be. Because remember, I'm raising money in local shillings, but I'm paying my loans in dollars. How many of you can tell me what the dollar will be, the shilling and the dollar in 2030? Anybody with an idea? The oil itself is walking away. You see, now you're bringing all these things. But if I am investing in your road project today, and I expect to recover my money in the next 20 years, collecting Uganda shillings, converting them into dollars to pay back where I got the money, I need to have that certainty.
PPP is becoming a source of increasing concern, especially for the least developed economies.
So our governance is the problem. So before you get good governance, don't even venture into road projects. Rubella, he said if it is built, and indeed if it is built, Rubella is already an illegality. But the bigger problem, will the hospital really function? Will it function? It was built on the premise that government was spending $70 million on paying for people going abroad for treatment. Auditor General found it was $7 million per year, not 70. So already you are beginning from a wrong premise.
Public-private partnerships combine the skills and resources of both the public and private sectors through sharing of risks and responsibilities. This enables governments to benefit from the expertise of the sector and allows them to focus on policy, planning and regulation. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
The top management team of the Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited has toured the Simba Hydroelectric Power Station to ascertain its state after 6 months of operation.
It's exactly 183 days after the commissioning of the 183 megawatts Simba Hydro Power Station, and according to Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, the systems here are running flawlessly.
Simba Hydroelectric Power Station in Kayunga District has been operating for about 6 months. The facility and its operations remain in top form as the supervision of the contractor in the liability period continues.
The plant has been working without any problem, and we are invoicing UETCL, and from the revenues generated out of the sale of power here, we should be able to pay the loan without any problem.
Simba is a 183.2 megawatts hydropower plant located about 50 kilometers from the Owen Falls Power Dam in Jinja. Launched in March 2019, the newest power plant boosted Uganda's power generation capacity to about 1,200 megawatts. Although the power plant has an installed capacity of 183 megawatts, a quick check on the production panel shows that only 3 out of 4 units are running, adding at least 137 megawatts to the power grid.
Our supply of electricity must be equal to the demand. There is no one who stocks electricity and keeps it in a depot. or in a store waiting for a rainy day. So what the system demands of us, what you, the consumers of electricity, demand of us, is what we'll give you.
To help facilitate the smooth operations of Isimba, Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited has started constructing permanent staff housing.
But the biggest challenge we have been having on this site is that all our staff have been commuting to Kampala and to Jinja because the employers' facilities have never been built. Now today we are doing groundbreaking to start constructing the first phase of the employers' camp so that you have a motivated workforce that is settled on site and is focused on running the plant more efficiently.
Dennis Igowa for UBC News at Isimba.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Rugunda, has re-echoed government's commitment to ensuring the successful operations of Uganda Airlines, saying that it will help boost the country's tourism sector. Rugunda was officiating at the 10th Annual Tourism Sector Review for the financial year 2018-2019.
Last month, the country's flag carrier, Uganda Airlines, started commercial operations after securing its air operator's license certificate from the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. The Prime Minister, Dr. Kijjanangoma, has re-echoed government's commitment towards ensuring successful operations of Uganda Airlines, saying that it will play a critical role in boosting the country's economic sectors like tourism. Rugunda was officiating at the 10th Annual Tourism Sector for the financial year 2018-2019, which aims at assessing the sector's performance.
Investment in the road infrastructure as well as air transport will continue to be developed to make it easy for tourists to move around the country and contribute to promotion of tourism. And as you are aware, the country has established a national airline with the aim of increasing direct connectivity of the country to many upcoming markets for tourists to Uganda.
The tourism sector has been highlighted in the second National Development Plan as one of the key sectors that can drive the country to achieve the middle income status.
Uganda's tourist arrivals grew by 7.4% from 1.4 million in 2017 to 1.505 million in 2018. The numbers are increasing in 2018. The foreign exchange earnings also increased. It increased by 10.1% from 1.45 billion US dollars in 2017 to 1.6 billion US dollars in 2018.
The Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Uganda Tourism Board, Bradford Ochieng, underlines that strategic marketing has aided the sector's good performance despite some challenges.
Of course, this sector is quite a very sensitive one. We have the problem of skills. We're talking about the human resource. If you just the EAC without going very far, you see most of the managers that we have in our facilities are actually from across the borders. That's a big challenge and actually very costly. When you bring a foreign person to come and work in an industry which would have actually been filled by a Ugandan, then it means there's a big challenge. The other problem that you see really when you have a small problem like Ebola, for example, then it becomes so sensitive.
The sector boasts to have directly employed 667,000 people in the financial year 2018-2019 and remains one of the major sectors contributing to the country's gross domestic product, amounting to over 5%.
At least 160 people in Kawempe Trading Center and its environs were arrested for power theft. Annually, Umeme loses over 100 billion shillings through this vice, as Dennis Igowa reports.
Several residents of Kawempe Division have been arrested for stealing electricity. This was in an operation by Umeme officials with support from Uganda Police Force.
We have disconnected over 200 installations with bypasses. We have gotten over 200 meters that have been interfered with. We also have several buildings that we have bought with direct supply and have been stealing power.
The operation, which is continuing and will soon be expanded to cover other regions of the country, is aimed at reducing power losses, curbing risks associated with power theft, and enhancing the quality of power on the grid.
We are seeing the benefit trickle in because the line that brings power to this area has dropped consumption by up to 10%. About 15,000 units per day have been saved because of this operation, and it's continuing. We are operating during day and night, and the operation is continuing, and we are urging the public to actually come forward and report those that are causing this energy loss, that are consuming power illegally.
Although some residents supported the operation, concerns on the cost of electricity units were raised.
Amasanze ga bei, amasanze unit kati eri mu 10, batusalire ku masanyaza amasanze galekera okubbiwa. Wabuli wootuuka amasanze ga bei tukole ki? Ne kati unit obanga ogisasulira nusu 10, oli wa saalu y'omuti, service fee oteekayo okusala 10,400 zote ziriiko service fee zote ozifunamu.
On average, Umeme Utility Company loses an estimated 100 billion shillings annually in power theft and vandalism. Penalties for the crime range from caution, community service, and a maximum fine of 2 million shillings.
In our corporate news, Uganda Airlines has confirmed that it will receive the 2 remaining Bombardier planes in mid-October. The planes that are currently undergoing test flights in Canada will enable Uganda Airlines open up more routes. Let's have a look.
A lot will change because then we will increase our flights on certain routes and then add more routes onto the schedule. You'll see us going to DRC, Congo, Central Republic, Africa, Central African Republic. You'll see us do more of the southern routes, Lusaka, Harare, Johannesburg, and we will increase our flights on the existing routes that we'll be doing. We'll increase Nairobi to 3 flights a day. We'll increase Juba to 2 flights, and on some days 3. We'll increase Mogadishu because we'll be flying 4 times, but we'll increase to 6. So yes, there will be a change in the route network current and additional routes that we'll bring online.
And now from across the borders, Nigeria's decision to shut its borders in order to curtail rice smuggling and boost local production is taking a huge toll on the continent's biggest grain market, located in the country's northwest Kano state.
At normal times, this whole area would have been jammed with people and grains of all colors and shapes. But these are not normal times for Dawanau Market, Africa's largest grains market in the commercial city of Nigeria's Kano state. Due to its significance, big-time farmers and exporters from across the continent have made the market a go-to place for all their grains. Every Friday, thousands from across Africa gather here to buy and sell grains. But since the partial border closure by the Nigerian government, commercial activities here have taken a nosedive, and traders like Abubakar Ibrahim are seriously feeling the heat.
When the border was open, business was moving smoothly, but now the closure has reduced our sales. We usually send goods outside the country through the border, and other goods also come in from across the borders. But now we are unable to do that. It's even worse for us who are close to the borders with Niger, Benin, Ghana and Togo. Sometimes some goods take longer time before they cross the border, and some, like fish, get spoiled in the border, and that has been a great loss to us in the business.
And it's not just the traders who are complaining, buyers are complaining as well. Because farmers and traders from across the borders have difficulty bringing their grains to the market, the amount of grains available has significantly reduced, causing a spike in price.
I bought corn, 210 naira, 200, but today I buy it 230, which is even increased more than what I bought last time. And we are seeing that this time around, at least, they are now harvesting things. the price supposed to beat down, but it's now going higher. As there is an effect of border, because when things were, the border was, especially the rice, it's even higher than what we bought last time. I bought last time Kura 550, but it's now 700 naira, the Kura rice. That is the one we plant in our own country.
The market is also a source of employment for thousands of local people who earn their living here. But reduced commercial activities now mean reduced amount of work available. The government says leaving the borders fully open is aiding smuggling activities, which it says is a great hindrance to the country's attainment of food self-sufficiency. But these traders are appealing that the action be relaxed and that local farmers should be supported.
We are pleading with the government to please find a way to open the borders. We have been complaining to the government to help patronize our business and help buy crops for plantation for the farmers.
Nigeria hopes to become the next exporter of rice by 2020, setting a target of becoming self-sufficient in local production. To create incentives for domestic production, the Central Bank of Nigeria has also restricted forests for food imports. But as well-intentioned as those policies might be, for traders here at Dawanu Market, they are at the receiving end. Deji Badmos, CGTN, Kano, Nigeria.
But now, raise your hands if you're running a service and you would like more customers. Any of you want more customers? Yeah. Some of us want more customers. There are 1.7 billion people still unbanked, still underbanked, still underserved by our industry. 400 million of those are adults in Africa. That's a nice problem to solve for our business. But who of your systems today could actually have 400 million new customers join you? I would say that we need to think about scaling in a new way. We need to think about where we need to collaborate, work together rather than compete.
The 183 megawatt Simba hydroelectric power station on the Nile features tonight on Our Sounds of Business. Commissioned by the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni early this year, the run-of-river plant cost approximately $568 million US. to sign out tonight, we leave you with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, in which he says, "Satisfaction does not come with achievement, but with effort. Full effort is full victory." Thank you for being a part of this episode. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. Catch me on the next, same time, same place. From the team and I, it's goodbye.
Three. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone on any network anytime at 3 shillings per second. Ha ha! Tuanzi Soze!
Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Inspirational moment with Pastor Jackson Senyonga of Christian Life Church, Kampala.
What is courage? Or what is lack of courage? We know what is lack of strength, but what is the lack of courage? The inability to stay the course when problems are overwhelming or the journey seems long. In other words, you are unable to continue. And when you believe that tomorrow I'm going to break through, today you're having the strength. You believe that tomorrow is going to be breakthrough, and tomorrow comes and you're not breaking through, and if you're not willing to look beyond that and stand another day to continue to believe that yes, it did not happen, but I'm going to pursue continually, then you don't have courage. My prayer is you will not give up on yourself. You will not going to give up on your goals. You are not going to give up on God.
P5 National Deliverance Day 2019 at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. Pastor Jackson and Eve Senyonga of Christian Life Church, Makere Kavule, Kampala invite you to the P5 National Deliverance Day 2019, 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. all day, all night. Come and be delivered from poverty, rejection, suffering, generational curses, bad dreams, false prophets, and witchcraft. Don't miss special prayers for your deliverance, marital, spiritual, career, and financial blessings. Entrance is free. P5 National Deliverance Day. Uganda Labour has reduced its fares on that day as little as 500 shillings going and 1,000 shillings coming back.
To improve the quality and output of poultry, our farmer is advised to crossbreed their chicken, and that in crossbreeding, one cock should mount not more than 10 hens. Hatching healthy local chicken starts with procuring disease-free birds, and this requires the buyer to be very observant while buying birds.
So that pot, I put charcoal in it. I put charcoal in it, then I put fire. It lights itself, and then it becomes warm. Then I also use hurricane lamp.
Droppings are rich in nutrients, can be used for composite making, pond fertilizing, and as feed for livestock.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by... Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
333. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone on any network anytime at 3 shillings per second. Ha ha!
Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission. My first 4G smartphone from Airtel is back. It's bigger, better, and comes with 5 GB free data per month for 3 months. At only 200,000 Uganda shillings, enjoy fantastic features on the phone like the face unlock feature, long battery life. Mwana, ka volume keko. Live your life in 4G with my first 4G smartphone at only 200,000 Uganda shillings and get free 5 GB data every month for 3 months. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, dial *175*9# to enjoy free data. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Three. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone on any network anytime at 3 shillings per second. Ha ha!
Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
You unravel me. We are going to Nambole on the 27th of September in the National Deliverance Day.
Tugenda fenne Nambole ngenaku z'omwezi 27 omwezi ogw'omwenda mu linnya lya Yesu.
Nambole agenda kuyuguma amaanyi ga Katonda.
Nambole is going to shake the power of the Lord.
Wabula yennaku mbale zokka.
It's only countable days.
Katonda anaatera okwabya obwengula.
God is about to render the heavens.
Afukirire Nambole n'emikisa gya ssente obuwanguzi n'okusumululwa n'amaanyi ga Katonda. Buli muntu analinnya mu kisaawe ekyo agenda kulaba Katonda nga bw'atamulabangako mu linnya lya Yesu.
He's going to see the Lord that is never fathomed in the name of Jesus.
Emizimu gyakankanye edda.
Demons are already shaken.
Ng'ennaku z'omwezi 27
on the 27th, Jesus.
Kuba engalo n'endulu ng'oleeta banno baganda bo basenga abo mikwano gyo ne b'okola nabo.
Hello there and welcome me, Edward Kijjanangoma, to yet another edition of Talk Time. This is your show that comes your way every Monday from 9 to 9:50 p.m. here on UBC TV. Now tonight we are going to look at the 4th Industrial Revolution. Remember that today technology is the in thing and everything is being run, almost everything, I cannot say that everything, but almost everything is being run by technology. And Uganda as a country, we cannot lag behind, we must go with the times. And the 4th Industrial Revolution is something that probably most of you have heard about or you're hearing. about it for the first time. But what is this? It's not an animal. That is one thing that you should know. But what is it generally? And tonight I'm privileged to be joined in the studio by none other than by Mr. Noah Balesamvu. Now, Mr. Noah Balesamvu is a businessman, is also a cyber security expert, but on top of that, he's also an emerging technologies enthusiast. So you can see it's all about technology in as far as he is concerned. Yes, Noah, good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Eddie.
Yes, of course, we are going to be talking about fourth industrial revolution, but the person watching may be saying, I know this man, I've seen him somewhere, but who is Noah? Briefly tell us who you are, actually.
Okay, my name is Noah Balesamvu. I am a technology enthusiast. I like to think of myself as one who embraced technology from a childhood, and so it has shaped much of my professional career. Right now, for the last 15 years, I've been in cybersecurity, and that has been one of my core passions. But also that, in the field of cybersecurity, you get introduced to many other things, and so I started businesses around that cybersecurity, and now I'm into emerging technologies, the fourth industrial revolution, which we'll discuss later. But that describes me. I'm passionate about business, passionate about technology, and also leadership. I serve on a number of bodies, locally and both internationally.
And most people actually who may be watching you right now, they remember you when you're standing very close to the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some of my responsibilities, those are the people I report to, but at a national level, I chair the National Information Security Advisory Group. This is a body that brings together government and private sector organizations to take care of our cybersecurity as a country.
Wow.
So at a national level, that's what I do. But also as a businessman, I run a company called Crypto Savannah. I'm a co-founder there. And together with my business partners, we are passionate about bringing emerging technologies to Africa, so that Africa doesn't miss out on this technology revolution that's at our doorsteps.
And especially Uganda, of course. And we do thank you.
Especially Uganda.
Yes, I remember actually one of the things that I remember you about is recently. I think it was in June. You happened to host two presidents. That was during that conference. Tell us a little bit about that conference anyway. Well, what was it about, and what did you want Ugandans to really gain from that?
So interestingly, the conference we held was the second iteration. We started last year, where we hosted the former president of Mauritius, and it was the conference is the Africa Blockchain Conference. And so as we dig into this, I'll explain what blockchain is later, but what we were doing is we are bringing together all the key players in the blockchain industry globally to convene here in Africa to talk about the opportunities, what's happening around the world, why is blockchain such a big buzzword. And so this year we hosted President Bio from Sierra Leone, and he's a very big technology enthusiast. Actually, if you read up, he has been pushing his country to embrace technology at a very aggressive pace, and Sierra Leone is fastly becoming one of the technology hubs in Africa. And so we convened the largest blockchain conference in Africa to talk about it and to demonstrate the benefits of this new technology.
Now, thank you so much. And of course, Via will be indeed, actually, that is just a tip of the iceberg, but we'll be coming back, as he said, to what blockchain is. But let's go to our main topic of the evening, and of course, that is a fourth industrial revolution. Most people actually don't understand what this is. Tell us, what is fourth industrial revolution?
So the fourth industrial revolution, by definition, being the fourth, that means there was a first.
There was first,
second, and a third. And so these are ages or eras of time which are defined by certain technologies. And so it started, the first industrial revolution came with the steam engine. Remember, we used to work with horses and carriages. That's how we moved goods around. That's how we traded. But with the invention of the steam engine, we could now put railroads. We could now have, the motor vehicle is actually one of the inventions of the steam engine era. And so now we could move goods across large distances. So it improved trade. So you find that a technology is introduced and it changes society. So that was the first. The second is when we invented electricity. And with that invention, of course, quote unquote, it lit up the world. We were no longer using candles, but you're using bulbs, and also part of that age is when we came up with telecommunication, because now we could move electricity, which captures our voice, and it is displayed at a long distance. So telephony also came in with that technology. The third industrial revolution was the internet. That one which is available is available for all of us to see. It has changed the way we live today. The world's biggest companies right now are internet companies. No one could predict this 20 years ago. And so now what we are seeing is that there is a fourth, and it is just beginning. And this fourth is collecting a number of technologies that is going to change our world the way the first, second, and third did. If your business was in horses, and then someone is driving a car, your world was about to be changed, because that was going to be the means by which people move. If your business was in in postal services, your world would be changed by email. So right now we are seeing technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, 3D printing, biotechnology, blockchain. These technologies are starting to come into the limelight, and they're going to change the way we are as a society, as Ugandans and Africans and anyone in the world. We are starting to see, but the effects are going to be more pronounced as we go down into
exactly, and that is something that you'll probably be talking about, of course, advantages and disadvantages. But I see people are going to lose jobs here, but you'll talk about them. Because when you talk about this, fourth industrial revolution, I look a little bit ahead of time, and I'm like, probably even the jobs for tomorrow are going to be an entirely different thing.
Yes.
Altogether.
Yes, and the joke I came across actually as I studied more about these industrial revolutions is I read a book, and in that book they described a computer as a person. In the pre-First World War, we used to have warfare was done with tanks, and that time they didn't have smart bombs or anything, so they just threw shells at a projectile. So now in the infantry there was a person whose work was to calculate what height the turret should be, what distance should be fired, so that they can land on the target. That person was called a computer, because his work was to compute. Now we laugh at it right now because a computer is a machine, but that's his job was replaced by a computer that does exactly what it is, and now we call it a computer. In the same way, there are certain jobs that we have held on to right now that are going to be fully automated. If you're in basic data entry, that job is going to become obsolete in the next few years because of artificial intelligence. Now we have taught machines to do basic things that humans do. Right now, even the role of a personal assistant is changing, because even right now, you on your phone, you have a personal assistant given to you by Google.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And so this is the fourth industrial revolution. And what I keep telling people, it's not far. It's not in America, it's not in Europe, it is here with us. Exactly.
And when you talk about this, actually, I also think about the education sector. It's pretty much going to change. I think when we're talking about things to do with technology and artificial intelligence, don't you think we have to really up our game as far as education is concerned?
Yes, and I'm going to try and not step on many toes, but our education system was built for the second industrial revolution. You notice in the second industrial revolution, we had people working a manufacturing line, okay? And so your work was to assemble things in an assembly line. And so you needed people who were good at taking orders. You needed people who were good at remembering, because remembering, you need to remember the instructions. And so we built an education system that churned out that workforce. So you need to remember, hence the need for exams to quiz you, to remember things that you learned back. And so that's just one example of an education system that was built for an industrial age that is passing. Right now, definitely, one of the key areas, if we are to remain relevant in the future, is to teach our young people these skills. Right now, there is the ongoing argument that literacy is going to be defined by the ability to read, write, and code. Because the skill set of the future is the ability to put code and program. Our young people right now are going to compete with people in China, in the US, who are already using computers at elementary level.
Wow.
And we are still with notepads and textbooks. We can't compete in that world. And we are saying that the world is a global village. how are we producing that workforce of tomorrow if we are sticking to old ways of learning? So we need to embrace even not only the technologies, but how to create the future workforce. Otherwise, we will be unemployed.
We shall be left behind.
Yes.
Indeed, that's why I say that, you know, when you talk about these things, I actually get scared. I'm like, okay, our next generations, what are they going to be doing?
Yeah.
But also, still, fourth industrial revolution, yes, it is with us here, but is it really important to Ugandans?
Yes, and why I believe it's important to Ugandans is, again, we are now a global village. You can live in Uganda and work in the US. You can do so many things by remote because of the information age that has come with the internet. That means, you know, and then of course with that information age, the requirements for this future jobs are now at our fingertips. You can work for Google, you can work for Facebook, you can work for any company. So if we are to think about employment, just as a simple thing, these are going to be the skill sets that are needed, not even far, 10, 15 years from now. These, if you're to remain competitive. I just said, gave an example of simple tasks that we are used to, data entry. Those roles are going to go. So for Ugandans, if we are to remain employed, if we are to remain active participants of the global economy, we cannot ignore these. So it is important for us to realize that the tide is shifting. If we look back in history, every industrial age has come with a shift in wealth. Yes, it started with the railroad operators in the first industrial revolution. The second one had the telecom companies, the massive Bell Labs and AT&T. The third industrial revolution had the tech giants, you understand? The fourth is also going to have its shift in wealth. So unless we want to remain poor, we need to understand and see how to leapfrog. And it's not, we're used to it. We have done it before. We leapfrogged fixed line communication and went to mobile straight, while the rest of the world, you know, was connecting buildings with lots of wires. Here in Africa, we said, look, we went straight for mobile and it exploded. While people are, you know, working with Visa cards, trying to penetrate businesses, we came up with mobile money. Now there are more mobile money accounts. There are as many mobile money accounts as adults in Uganda. There is no business model that can grow that fast. So we are used to leapfrogging. So it's not about, because there's this inherent fear of technology, that it will take away our jobs. Yes, with every industrial revolution, jobs go. Jobs go, yes. But new ones are created. We no longer have a computer as a person, we have programmers now.
And that's actually something very, very new. Maybe you're watching and you grew up and you found there's this computer, but one thing that you should know is that computer, there was someone actually called a computer. He was there computing where these, as you said, the bombs had to, you know, to land. So it just, the name was transferred from a human being to a machine. To a machine. Very, very interesting. Also, you talked about Crypto Savannah, and you're one of the bosses there at Crypto Savannah. Yes, one thing that comes to mind is, of course, you know, blockchain, and the question is blockchain the same as Bitcoin? Because we've had blockchain, Bitcoin, and people get confused. Probably, I would like you to use this opportunity, educate the person watching right now the difference. What is blockchain, and is it the same as, you know, Bitcoin?
It's a good thing we started at the fourth industrial revolution, because blockchain is exactly one of the technologies that is poised to revolutionize finance and many other areas. And so, yes, we have also fallen victim to hype as an industry. You talked about Crypto Savannah. That's our business that we do. Our core business is actually in blockchain, and we do a number of things within that space. So when you ask what blockchain is, it is a technology. It is a baseline technology that allows the transfer of value. I'm going to try and not get into the technicalities, because that's where people get lost. When you ask someone what's blockchain, it's like asking someone what's the internet. About 90% of the users of the internet don't know how it works, but they know what value they can get out of it. So same thing with blockchain. Blockchain is a means by which value can be transferred. As opposed to the internet is a means by which communication can be given over distances. So when the internet came, the first application was email. And so we could write a letter put it in a computer, and it goes and appears in someone else's computer instantaneously. People are used to letters being written, goes to the post office, then it is driven to your destination. So you can imagine how internet disrupted the post office. That is what blockchain is going to do to communicate to traditional businesses today in the transfer of value. So now the same way I can have a land title or some money, I can transfer it to you immediately. And that's why blockchain is now becoming popular. It is different from cryptocurrencies because cryptocurrencies are an application. Some people have put to use this blockchain technology.
And that is something that people have actually been finding problems.
Yes, because they say, and I've been in places where they say, look, Bitcoin is blockchain, blockchain is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first application of blockchain, just like the first application of internet was email.
Okay.
So now, when internet first came, the first interaction we had with it was email. But then right now there is WhatsApp, there is Facebook, there is
Twitter,
there is all your banking.
Oh, yes.
All your banking is on the internet, and so you see there are many applications, many uses of the internet. So same thing with blockchain. There are many uses of blockchain, just that the first one was cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one cryptocurrency. So that is the difference. One is the underlying technology, blockchain. Bitcoin is just the first use of it.
Thank you so much, and if you have just joined us, this is Talk Time here on UBC TV, and we are looking at the fourth industrial revolution, and with me in the studio is none other than Noah Bale Thamvu, who is an entrepreneur, but also is a cyber security expert, but also an emerging technologies enthusiast, and of course is explaining a lot more in as far as these technologies, the emerging technologies are concerned. And today actually in the past few months, government and some ministries actually have been encouraging their people to actually embrace blockchain. Probably there you can tell us, in Uganda, do you see this working out? Do we, Ugandans you have to push them. You have to push them to do certain things.
Yeah.
I'll give an example of the national ID. The deadline was put there, but millions had not got, their national IDs now with this technology here, and which I think, unfortunately, we must embrace. Do you see, government, doing enough to ensure that this is embraced?
So interestingly, out of all the governments in Africa, you'll find the Ugandan government is one of the most progressive. Right now, as we speak, Uganda is the de facto, quote-unquote, capital for blockchain in Africa, largely because of the two conferences that we have had. These are the highest profile events on blockchain anywhere on the continent, and our president is one of the first who has gone out and said, look, this technology is going to help us fight corruption, it's going to help us increase efficiency, it's going to give us many opportunities. And so yes, the government right from the top has embraced it. As we speak right now, His Excellency the President launched the task force on the fourth industrial revolution. I'm a member of that task force, but that shows the intent or the positioning that the government is to embrace it. And so we've been tasked to look at these technologies, understand how they can be domesticated for the Ugandan, for the average Ugandan to benefit, and then now we push it and advise government on how well to embrace it and use it in different areas of government. So at a national level, yes. Because it's also new, there's still a lot of discovery that needs to happen. Many governments around the world, many organizations around the world are just where everyone is on the starting line. Some are maybe a few inches ahead, but everyone is at the starting line trying to understand because the implications are massive. Because for the first time we can transfer digital value. That has never happened before, and so it's disrupting things like banking. Initially, the banks were resistant to it because they thought that their core function is going to be taken away. But now, one of the biggest people embracing blockchain is banks.
Exactly, and I think I'll be coming back to that. But you talked about something very, very pertinent, and that is this system trying to curb corruption, because we have had so many, stories about corruption in this country, and people have been, they have suffered from the, long hands of certain people, and government especially. Government has lost a lot of money in as far as corruption is concerned. So how will this one try to curb corruption?
Yes, so by nature, a blockchain is different from traditional internet systems. And one of the key differences is transparency. How it achieves its high security as a technology and its high trust as a technology is through its openness. If there's a transaction on a blockchain, everyone sees it. You can protect people's privacy, but the transaction is recorded openly. So on such a technology, imagine if you put your land titles on a blockchain, so where no one can send you air anymore. Okay. Because if someone comes to sell you a land title, you just check and say, no, this is not. No one can sell your land without your knowledge, because the minute someone even searches for your title, you get a notification, same way you get a WhatsApp notification or an email notification. And so these are some of the opportunities that are opened up with blockchain. Now, in terms of fighting corruption, there are many ways, and I'm sure there are people who have studied this to the highest level, but in my view, there are many ways you can fight corruption. Technology is one way, but for technology to work, it has to be embraced by people. So people must be willing to change and then embrace the right technologies to facilitate that change. So yes, it is one of the most powerful tools we have to fight corruption, but we have to embrace it as a nation, we have to embrace it as users, as people, so that we can work together with the technology.
Thank you so much, Noah and Via. This is still Talk Time here on UBC TV, but we will take a short break. But when we come back, we've just been talking about, this technology and, being safe. However, with cybercrime, how do we circumnavigate, that cybercrime thing? So we'll take a short break, but this is Talk Time, and stay with us.
Does heartburn stop you from eating the things you love? Eating too fast, alcohol or spicy food can trigger acidity, heartburn, indigestion or flatulence. Your best bet is Better Cool. Better Cool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn and indigestion. Trust Better Cool. Enjoy life.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Improve the quality and output of poultry, our farmer is advised to crossbreed their chicken, and that in crossbreeding, one cock should mount not more than 10 hens. Hatching healthy local chicken starts with procuring disease-free birds, and this requires the buyer to be very observant while buying birds.
Yeah. So that pot, I put charcoal in it. I put charcoal in it, then I put fire. It lights itself, and then it becomes warm. Then I also use hurricane lamp.
Droppings are rich in nutrients, can be used for composite making, pond fertilizing, and as feed for livestock.
Kickstart your week with the best entertainment.
The only one I give my body, but
We bring you the latest in showbiz.
And unlike what the newspapers were reporting, I wasn't doing cocaine, narcotics. No, it was a prescription drug. And I was taking this prescription drug because I had an injury of my back.
oh mama tetema, tipo tetema, oh mama tetema, aya twende tetema, oh mama tetema, shuka chini tetema, oh mama tetema.
Fashion, tech and gadget news, and your countdown. Join us Monday to Thursday. Jam 101. We set the pace.
Wagalango to the wali.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is Talk Time here on UBC TV. My name is Edward Kijjanangoma, and tonight we're looking at fourth industrial revolution. And in the studio, I'm with Mr. Bale Noah, who is a businessman, but also a cybersecurity expert and emerging technologies enthusiast. Before the break, we were looking at advantages, of blockchain.
Yeah.
However, there have been, cyber crimes, and their money has been swindled. Now, why should I be comfortable with this kind of, system?
That's a very good question, because I get that a lot, and when you mention cryptocurrencies, people's hearts start beating because they're like, hey, these are the scams and what.
Yes. Actually, there's someone who came and approached me. I'm like, they did everything, but I'm like, the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
I said I'm not getting into it because of that fear. Actually,
yes.
I put there my money and then it disappears. Because actually people have lost money there. So
yeah. And fair, there are scams, and one of the things we are trying to fight is to set the record straight. And why I like opportunities like this, we get to explain what the technology is, and more importantly also what it's not. Because I get questions like, I want to invest in blockchain, what should I do? It's like, I want to invest in internet, what should I do? You see, there are certain, when you explain something, it then shows you, okay, if someone comes and tells me, if you put money in this blockchain, then every month it starts coming out in this amount, then I stay away, because there's some information. And so the point is, when there's an information gap, there's usually abuse. And it's not the first time it has happened when there are new technologies come. The internet, in the mid-90s, there was the dot-com boom and the dot-com bust. People is like, hey, let's run for this internet thing. People are going to make money, and people lost a lot of money. But the internet is still here, because where people then learn that there's actually a value in the technology.
And also the gaps that are there.
People get to know, and then as more spotlight comes onto the technology, then comes the guardrails to keep people safe. And so yes, initially cryptocurrencies and blockchain have been marred by these scams, and they go back as early as Charles Ponzi, after whom the Ponzi scheme is named. And he used to do that in the 1900s, long before blockchain, long before internet. There were still Ponzi schemes. And so even today, there are still Ponzi schemes. I'm sure you can talk to any Ugandan who has been approached by people who have diamonds in a glass and say, hey, the Mzungu crashed here. And so as long as there are those people, as long as there are human beings who want to defraud other human beings, the means will change. But the inherent vice is still there. And so we fight that by also addressing the weaknesses of the technology, and also being able to educate people and tell them, look, if someone comes to you with a business proposition, ask tough business questions. What are you investing in? And don't put all your life savings in a new thing. Take some due diligence, ask other people what they think, ask some experts what they think, then make a calculated decision. I'm not saying that the technology is all good.
But at least to a greater extent.
To a greater extent, what we are trying to do, especially in Uganda, is to fight the scams. What we are saying, look, if there is legitimate business when it comes to blockchain, but then there are also those ones who are not legitimate. And the good thing is that by working closely with government, we are setting the rules and the records. And so now, in time, there's going to be proper guidelines like any other business.
Actually, I'll be coming back to that,
sure.
The legal position.
Yeah.
But also, when we're talking about this, a lot of things, they come to mind. But I'd like to give the viewer a chance to talk to you.
Sure.
Probably, I know there are so many who are watching right now, and they have these questions in their minds they would like to hear from you, and also probably contribute to this show. Our studio line is going to be opened shortly, and that is 0702 232 425. I'll repeat that, 0702 232 425. That is our studio line. You can call us, you can give us, you can contribute to this show, or also ask if you have a pertinent question about, fourth industrial revolution, the blockchain, cryptocurrency. The expert is in the studio. You can have that chance to understand and learn more about this. Yes, but you've talked about something very, very interesting, because cyber cyber crimes, even government itself is still finding it very, very, difficult to deal with them. Now, I would like to know, to pick your mind on the legal position of, the blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
Let me touch on the cyber crime a bit, and then I'll go into the legal position. Cyber crime is, I've been in the business for some time, for about 15 years, and it's a continual problem, but it has never stopped us from going forward. And so there's been cyber crime back in 2006, 2004 when I started. There was cyber crime, but we are still embracing. All these banks are still going online. So what is happening? They're putting the safeguards in place, while also embracing the new opportunities that are opened up with it. And we are never going to reach, I don't think we're going to reach the place where we can say we are 100% proof. There is no 100% secure
it
system.
Can't be there.
Even when blockchain comes, and even though blockchain is a step higher in terms of security than the traditional systems people use, it's still, I'm not going to go on TV and say that it's bulletproof, no. But it has some high security measures that it puts in place. To get into the legal position where Uganda is right now, I'm going to separate the technology from the use case. Because as a country, many countries, no one regulates technology, because technology changes. You'll come up with a law for internet today, tomorrow it will be obsolete because there's a new innovation. So what people regulate is the use case. So if you're using the internet for financial services, then BAU comes in. If you're using it to trade stocks, then Capital Markets Authority or USA comes in. So we regulate the use cases. So blockchain as a technology is not regulated because again it will change, and it's a tool. But what it's used for, say for land titles, for protecting intellectual property, for protecting currency, then there are different regulators. And right now the regulators are talking, they're discovering. Initially when it started off, many regulators were like, we don't want this thing, and then you see many of those communications by BOU in the papers. And this is, I'm not going to point fingers, but this is them trying to protect the Ugandan. That is their default position. The default position is protect the Ugandan, protect our economy. So they come up with these cautious stance. However, we have been engaging them and telling them, look, as much as there is that, there is a new opportunity, and they have slowly come around. So to the point that I mentioned earlier, that the country has the task force, the Fourth Industrial Revolution task force, that has experts on various fields: finance, education, some of us at a technical level, legal. So it has many minds that are coming together to say, okay, how do these technologies affect this area? How do these affect this? And then they guide government. And so that is how the government is becoming proactive. And there are many, Bank of Uganda, Capital Markets Authority, Financial Intelligence Authority, all of them individually are looking deeper into these technologies. And within the next couple of weeks, months, we are going to start seeing them coming up with regulations to guide the market.
Okay, as we, try to come to the end of this, what are the opportunities that are before Ugandans as far as this is concerned? Fourth Industrial Revolution, or blockchain is concerned in general, cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so the possibilities are endless, and we can't dig into them, but I'm going to highlight two. Why? Because I believe those are the strategic opportunities we have as Uganda. One is in education, and just learning about this, getting trained. Right now, in the blockchain space, which is where I'm keenly involved, there is a 1 to 14 shortage of talent. So for every one blockchain developer, there are 14 opportunities chasing him. You understand? There's a report by Upwork. Upwork is one of the biggest online job sites, websites, where people go to find freelance work. And that report said that it put the statistic as blockchain in 2018 was the highest searched for skill set on their platform.
Wow.
LinkedIn, the professional, yes, the professional social site, put blockchain as the fastest growing profession. And so if you have a 1 in 14 opportunities, in Uganda we are graduating thousands of IT people. If you trained even just 1,000, you'll have the largest talent pool of blockchain developers anywhere in the world, and they will not sit idle. And so number one for me as an opportunity for Ugandans, and because internet has brought all these tools to our fingertips, you can sit and learn, and in 10 weeks you can become an expert. And you can start building applications. And there are people who are going to hire you at a very handsome fee. So that's opportunity number one. Opportunity number two is startups. Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. Any young person has a bright idea, they're willing to sacrifice time and energy to see it through. This is a passion, this is a trait that's not found in many countries. Now, if you couple that passion of starting companies and with these new technologies that are coming, that is a very potent mix. People, you can come up with startups that are going to solve problems of today and problems of tomorrow. This is how Google started out, in someone's garage. Facebook started in someone's dorm room.
When you see those pictures, I'm like, okay, this is how Google started.
And this is the thing that many people don't realize. When did they start? It's a good story to look at when about their starting, but they started when the third industrial revolution was taking place. You understand? So now our young people are in the period of time where the fourth industrial revolution is taking place. So now if we keep at it, I mean, the future is ours. So those are the two opportunities that are low-hanging for Ugandans.
And I said it, education, yes, indeed, the people, you know, those concerned with the education system in the country, they definitely need to do something about it now, so that, you know, our children who are in, you know, universities today, in future, they find jobs. And also it goes back to, you know, promotion of, you know, science, you know, studies in secondary education, in secondary schools, so that at least the moment these people, you know, graduate from universities, they have ready jobs waiting for them. But also, as you said, we must embrace it. As Ugandans, we must embrace this. But finally, I know that you are, you know, you are born again, and there is this, I don't know whether it's a myth, probably you can demystify this. Your line of duty, what you do today, it is not something that has been happening in the past. You find this person is born again. We are used to these people, they are in church, it's just purely church. They're not engaged in business. How do you, you know, merge these two? Because I know you're very, very involved in church.
So to me, my faith, what I do is an extension of my faith. And to me, there are not two worlds. There's not a professional world, then there's a church world. And through some of the teachings I sit under, some of the, my pastors and my leadership, we believe strongly that you live one life. There's a life that God has given you to live, and everything you do is an extension of that life. And so for me, I believe that what I'm doing right now is part of what God wants me to do. And so I don't have to struggle within two worlds. Now today I put on my cybersecurity hat, and I'm a cybersecurity expert. Then on Sunday I put on my Christian hat, and I'm a Christian. No, then that's why you find that you will never be a pro at any, you know, because your mind is divided. So you don't do certain things in business because you think it's clashing with your Christian thing. You don't do certain things here because you think it's clashing. But then you find that if you find your purpose, which is one, and you live it out the way God wants you to live it, then you don't struggle. And so you can achieve excellence because you're not divided. So the thing the devil has sold to us, you know, to Christians, is that you have a Christian life and you have a carnal life. But God says he has come to bring, as in you will live in one life, and he wants you to live it abundantly. And so he has given you gifts, he has given you talents, and he allows you to make money. Because people think that it is it's a sin for Christians to make money. And
actually,
so
it's the other way around.
and so we tie, it's like tying your shoelaces together, and then you're told to race with someone who has racing shoes. And so, no, I believe my faith empowers my work.
In other words, Christians, it's not wrong for Christians to be rich.
No, it's not. Solomon was one of the richest people that ever lived. Even, and you find that a thing that in the scripture that you find that when Jesus was talking about the rich people and how they will not enter the kingdom of God, meanwhile we take that scripture out of context. But when he was talking about it, some of the people who are worried at that teaching were his disciples. So why would the disciples be worried when Jesus is talking to rich people? It's because they were also wealthy.
That's very, very interesting, because at least I've understood something that you don't, as a Christian, as a born again, you just have to strive to at least get that money. Be rich, because God is also happy with someone who can, you know, take part in the expansion of his kingdom here on earth, and how can you do it in different ways, but also financially, financial stability is one of those things. And finally, what is your message to the person watching us, especially the youth who are still in school, they are pursuing their education, especially as far as fourth industrial revolution is concerned, and cryptocurrencies generally?
So, as regards the fourth industrial revolution, my advice or my challenge to the youth is embrace new information. We are surrounded by opportunities, and those who grab those opportunities are the ones who make it. And it's not something far-fetched. I mean, we have seen stories of young Ugandans embracing innovation. And so the information is there. Learn, be a student of life, be a student of these new things, because that's where new opportunities are coming from. And so when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, that's where the jobs are. If you're not in artificial intelligence or blockchain or drones or 3D, it's going to be difficult to get a job. But that said, it's not only sciences, because now many of the technical work is being automated by AI. So what is AI missing? Arts.
Okay.
So celebrate your artists as well. And so now we're moving away from STEM, which is science, technology, science, technology, I forget what the E is, and then mathematics. And we're moving to STEAM, science, technology, arts. So art, because a computer won't be creative. And so if you want to secure your job, be creative. So that's my encouragement to the young people.
Thank you so much, and it's also encouraging there that even artists can actually still benefit from this technology.
Yeah.
Noah, thank you so much for having for having accepted to come and really explain to the viewer and also Ugandans and also even those beyond Uganda, because we are not watched on UBC is not watched here. Only in Uganda, but also in our neighboring countries. So you have taught not only Ugandans, but also other people within the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we do hope to, get going as far as the fourth industrial revolution is concerned. Viewer, that brings us to the end of our talk time this Monday. My name is Edward Kijjanangoma, but up next is News Tonight. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
UBC TV is the only public broadcaster of choice.
We inform, educate, guide, and entertain.
We bring you news as it is, wherever it is happening in real time.
We take you faraway places from border to border.
We keep you up to date wherever you are.
In the languages of Kiswahili, Luganda,
and English.
UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
To improve the quality and output of poultry, a farmer is advised to crossbreed their chicken, and that in crossbreeding, one cock should mount not more than 10 hens. Hatching healthy local chicken starts with procuring disease-free birds, and this requires the buyer to be very observant while buying birds.
Yeah. So that pot, I put charcoal in it. I put charcoal in it, then I put fire. It lights itself, and then it becomes warm. Then I also use hurricane lamp.
Droppings are rich in nutrients, can be used for composite making, pond fertilizing, and as feed for livestock.
My name is Dr. Henry Dungu, a consultant in hematology and oncology. Health promotion and disease prevention programs focus on keeping people healthy. They aim to engage and empower individuals and communities to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases and other illnesses. Join me on New Health Chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. on UBC TV, sponsored by National Medical Stores, who are mandated to procure, store and distribute essential medicines and medical supplies to all public health facilities in the country.
Kickstart your week with the best entertainment.
The only one I give my body, but
we bring you the latest in showbiz.
And unlike what the newspapers were reporting, I wasn't doing cocaine, narcotics. No, it was a prescription drug. And I was taking this prescription drug because I had an injury of my back.
Oh mama tetema, tipo tipo tetema, oh mama tetema, aya twende tetema, oh mama tetema, shuka chini tetema, oh mama tetema.
Fashion, tech and gadget news, and your countdown. Join us Monday to Thursday. Jam 101. We set the pair.
Wagalango tude wali.
CNET Uganda is responsible for distributing the dicto signal to Ugandans. We are currently activating all up-country sites to boost our coverage. Jinja, Mbara, Masaka, Hoima, Soroti and Bale are now on. Our viewers in those areas are advised to use your free-to-air decoders to pick the signal. CNET Uganda, your sole signal distributor countrywide.
I could even hear their echoes right now shouting, Drago, you've got to turn off the television. And me, I'm always listening because I'm always this quiet person. So this is what happens. They do the talking, I do the listening because I'm very introverted. Hi, I'm Drago Kaima and I'm the host of Chilling. Tune in next, don't go anywhere as Drago comes back with another bang and special episode.
Monday, the 23rd day of September 2019. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. In our News Tonight, President Museveni speaks out on Lokodo Bill. Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Litwala Kadaga asks men to support women in leadership positions. An African movement to celebrate late President of Zimbabwe Robert Mugabe. Nigeria murder suspects remanded to Luzira prison. And in sports, Van Dijk threatens Ronaldo Messi in world's best. Hello there and welcome once again. It's a pleasure that you've chosen UBC TV as your channel of choice. On sign language, it is Mugalu Mohammed and I am Edward Kijjanangoma, who is also the NRM National Chairperson. Today began a two-day by-election campaign canvassing votes for the NRM flag bearer for Hoima District Woman Member of Parliament, Businge Harriet Mugenyi Akiki, and called upon the electorate to vote for the NRM candidate to reciprocate government's social, economic and political achievements made in the area. The president said that the roads have been constructed to connect Bunyoro sub-region to other parts of the country. Electricity has been connected to 10 sub-counties of Hoima district, except Kyabigambire county, which will also be connected soon. He also said education and health sectors have been fully supported. The president also added that the government is building Kawale International Airport with a 5-kilometer runway in Bunyoro and said that it is at the same level with Entebbe International Airport. The president also said, and I quote, the government has managed to record its achievements because it focused first on social and national economic recovery. Secondly, the restoration of peace and stability and general infrastructure in the country, end of quote. Businge Harriet is tussling it out for the Hoima District Woman seat with the opposition contender, Sinansi Nyakato, who is from the FDC. Now, Hoima District Woman MP seat fell vacant after its former woman member of Parliament, Tofas Kahwa Byagira, decided to move to represent the newly created district of Kikube as woman MP. Addressing rally at Kabale Public Primary School in Kabale Sub-County in Bugashia County today in the afternoon, the president reaffirmed to the people of the area that the other developments, such as the discovery of oil deposits in Bunyoro sub-region, is attributed to the peaceful environment and NRM's zeal for national development. He said that Uganda is hosting a refugee influx from the neighboring countries because of a peaceful political atmosphere that was ushered in by the NRM. He therefore urged the people of Uganda to guard peace jealously. The president thanked the people of Bunyoro sub-region for voting NRM in every election in the past. He advised them to vote the NRM flag bearer, Businge Harriet Mugenyi, to represent Hoima district in Parliament as woman member of Parliament come Thursday, the 26th of September 2019. Later on, President Museveni addressed another campaign rally at Kigorobia Muslim Primary School in Kigorobia sub-county. Pentecostal born-again pastors have been urged to become examples in spiritual and temporal matters to their flock because the Bible says we will see them by their fruits. Now, while speaking to pastors from churches all over the country at Lugogo Cricket Oval, President Museveni encouraged them to take lead in wealth creation as he promised to work together with them to actualize it.
It was a jovial moment as Pentecostal pastors converged at Lugogo Cricket Oval Grounds, waiting to hear from the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The occasion was graced with praise and worship songs by the choir of Miracle Center Cathedral Church, the organizers of this meeting. This meeting was planned in 2014 when pastors engaged the President on how they can benefit from the Operation Wealth Creation program. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said Christians should be examples when it comes to wealth creation and poverty eradication.
How will the Christian be like in the village when his children are starving and they're in rags? And does this give glory to God?
One of the issues that prompted the pastors to meet the President was to get his guidance on the Lokodo bill. Museveni has promised to engage with the pastors, Lokodo and the Archbishop to come out with a consensus.
Should we emphasize rituals and the formalization